So there's a lot of reasons why you need to ride a horse smartly when they're young to develop them physically and mentally. I ride a lot of young horses like her, and I get a lot of questions as far as how long do you ride a young horse for, how often do you ride a young horse, and how hard do you push them? How do you know when enough is enough with a young horse? And that's what I want to talk about in this video. As far as how hard to push a young horse, that is going to depend on the physical condition of the horse, the muscular condition, how muscled it is, how fit it is, as far as how much wind it has, and also how physically developed its skeletal system is. You don't want to push them too hard, but along with the skeletal system finishing developing, I believe that the muscular system needs to be kind of molded to sculpt itself to where the skeletal system should be. If you wait till a horse is completely developed, muscular and skeletally, before you start exercising that horse, there's no telling where that horse has put muscle on. And often you're going to have to go back and move muscle around so that the horse more carries himself correctly. So with these young horses, a big part of what I'm doing with them is I'm showing them how to carry themselves correctly so that they put on muscle, so that they stay round in the back stays arched, shoulder stays up, and the back end engages. So a lot of what I do with these younger horses, the fitness level, that's what I'm working towards. Most younger horses like her, and many of the horses that we work, typically 20 or 30 minutes is about how long I work most of them. Young horses like her, 20 or 30 minutes. Hank, I rarely work more than about 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes, depending on what I'm doing. But that training period is pretty intense. We'll do some standing in strategic places. We'll do some walking, letting them catch their breath in strategic places. But a big part of that work is I'm asking them to really bring their mind on me, really carry their body in a certain way. And in that 20 or 30 minutes, they're going to be mentally tired. And if you do it that way, that's how they should be. You shouldn't have to lope a horse for 45 minutes or an hour to lope it down to get its mind where it needs to be to train. And that's how you can train younger horses without overdoing their body. So as I walk her around, I'm going to ask her to keep her mind on me, put her mind in a situation where I am riding every step, I am asking for something every step, and I am asking her to carry her body correctly so that she develops the muscle where it needs to be. See, she's going to get her header out, she's going to get it, push it around, and I'm just going to keep asking her to get her body back where it needs to be, back where I would want a finished reining horse to be. Now, as far as how hard I'm going to work them, basically what I do is I ride 5 days a week. No matter young horse, older horse, no matter what, it's pretty much 5 days a week. 3 of those 5 days I call 50% days. I'm going to ask that horse to give me 50% of what I think that horse is capable of giving me. 50% effort, and what that's going to do, that's going to allow me to exercise that horse. For people, that's going to be kind of like an aerobic type exercise. Get the heart rate up a little bit, get the circulation up a little bit, use the muscles, but we're not really doing anything too hard. Nothing is really hard on those 50% days, and that's 3 of the days of the week. 1 day of the week, I'm going to do what I call a 70% day. That 70% day doesn't necessarily mean that the whole workout is a little bit harder, but somewhere in that workout, something's going to be a little harder. I might ask her to put more effort into the spin. I might ask her to put more effort into the stop. Maybe lope a little bit faster circles. Somewhere in there, it's going to be just a little bit more effort. And then the other one day, the 5th day, is going to be a 90% day. That day, I'm going to ask the horse to give me at some point, not necessarily, or definitely not the whole ride, some point in that ride, I'm going to ask that horse to give me 90% of what I think it's capable of. And what that does, that allows me to, let's say if I'm working circles, that allows me to push it just a little bit faster in the circles, which usually when you're training that 90% day, some things fall apart. That gives you a chance to train that little bit of speed. Gives you a chance to train stop with a little bit of speed. And then I'm going to follow that day up with a 50% day. I'm going to mix those in. I'm going to build, and then at the end of the week, I'm going to taper back off. So I might do 2 50s, a 70, a 90, and a 50, something like that throughout the week. And as far as how hard that percentage is, it depends on the horse. I want to make sure that the horse progresses in training, but not that I'm stressing its joints and bones and tendons and mentally harder than what the horse can accept. And as long as I stay with that schedule, I'm not going to overdo the horse mentally or physically. I was messaging with somebody a few days ago, and they're riding a young horse, and it got to the point where basically the horse just shut down, wouldn't do anything. They'd get on, it wouldn't walk, wouldn't trot, wouldn't do anything. And that's a situation where they overdid it with the horse mentally. The horse couldn't take no more, so it just shut down. A lot of people are worried about overdoing the joints, and that is a real good possibility. You get on a horse and you start doing nothing but 70 and 90% days, you're gonna overwork the joints, and you're gonna end up with knee issues, hock issues, stifling issues. That's how that happens. But if you don't mold the muscle along with the body developing, you're creating a whole different set of issues. My mission for my training program is to try to make every horse as good as they can be. If you want to talk to me about sending a horse to me for training, send me a message and we'll talk about it. I believe a lot of kissing spine happens because the horse did not learn to develop the muscle to round its back. So then you ended up with some spine issues. I've been saying this for years, and recently I've seen some studies pointing to that horses that carry themselves inverted are more likely to get kissing spine. So there's a lot of reasons why you need to ride a horse smartly when they're young to develop them physically and mentally. This is Gigi that I'm on. Most of her training videos I'm posting on Patreon. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it's Tim Anderson Horse Training. Go to Patreon and then search Tim Anderson Horse Training. Most of my more in-depth training videos, that's where they're posted at. So, but I'll put a link up here to some other videos talking about fitness and developing the horse. Until next time, thank you for watching.